and I'll let you know 5 minutes. Over to you, Donna.
Thanks, Ian. Donna, I'm an addict.
Donna.
Thanks for asking me to share, Ian. I suppose I better say a bit about myself because there's no way I'm going to be able to speak about step 6 for 20 minutes. I was born to two Irish parents 50 years ago, and I've got a sister who's 18 months older than me, and she's also in recovery. She's 10 years clean as well. I was 13 years clean on Wednesday last week, and I couldn't have done it without you guys. Seriously. I first was introduced to NA in 2005, and there's people in this room, in this meeting that are in those meetings as well. So yeah, my sponsor says it's a small world, and it is. So yeah, a little bit about my using. Mostly just got into it about 13, 14 with my best friend from school, and my sister was a year above us, so her best friend from school as well. We used to go out clubbing, and we grew up in our parents run pubs in London, so we just everything was on the doorstep. Right in the West End of London, so we could kind of go out together, come home together, and that's what we did. And we went to school. As long as we got up for school in the morning, it was okay. And we did that for many years. I left school and I went into a hairdressing apprenticeship. My sister worked for my parents, and it was just fun for a good few years. It was fun. We did sort of the rave scene as well, and then it kind of wasn't fun. I don't need to tell people what we lose, material things as well as like spiritually lose. And then it wasn't fun, and I went into treatment twice. The first time wasn't the treatment centre fault, it wasn't my time. The second time was in 2012. I was lucky enough to get some funding because, as well as being spiritually bankrupt, I was physically bankrupt as well. So I had no fucking money left. I had nothing apart from the hostages in my life. My parents, my sister, and my partner. Why he stayed with me. I'm still, he's still with me today, which I'm very grateful for. So I went into treatment and did 12 weeks there, and I was speaking to my sponsor last week saying, in my first year I just felt really nuts, and she's like, well, we are, aren't we? We're very unwell. I just, from what I remember, I just tried to keep my nut down and just think, this is your last chance. There's no more chances after this, no more fuck-ups after this. I never knew how many detoxes I had after the first time I'd gone into treatment. And I looked on my NHS app, and I think it was like 6 or 7 lots of detox medication, and it just, I'm okay to get detoxed, I just can't stay stopped. Without doing this stuff, I can't stay stopped. And I remember just taking my last tablet. Before I know it, I'm down the supermarket, I'm getting my drug of choice, and I'm off and running again, and just thinking, how has this happened? So without this, the treatment centre, that my meetings, it suggested that I got a sponsor. I didn't particularly want to get a sponsor, if I'm honest. But I got a spot. I kept going back to aftercare, and my focal cancer kept saying, have you got a sponsor yet? Have you got a sponsor? And I thought, fucking, why doesn't he ask someone else? She's only doing 1 meeting a week. I'm doing. I'm so grateful for all of that. I've still got that same sponsor today. Thank God. We work together. I hear other people saying that they have different sponsors. That's, their journey. But for me, I've still got the same sponsor today. I got out of treatment on the Friday, went to my meeting in Sudbury on the Saturday, and I'd seen her in meetings as well before I went in, and she just had this big glow about her, and all I called it like the ready bread glow, and I just thought, that's what I want. I just don't want this carnage, this drama, this everything. So she just had this big smile, and we started to work together. And she, although I'd said I've done the steps in treatment, she said, I'm very happy for you, but if you'd like me to be your sponsor, I'll take you through what my sponsor brought me through, and we worked through the green and golds together, and did the steps with the green and gold. So that was quite an undertaking, but it was one of the best things I'd ever done. Loved my step 2 and 3 in that, and I kind of bounced along in that for a while because I didn't want to do the step 4. So I just was writing loads in my step 3, and step 3, step 6 and step 3. I know they're all kind of linked, but that kind of trust and faith, again, in asking for my higher powers, guidance through this. Steps. I think I always thought step 4 and step 5 are like the biggie step. They are big, but step 6 for me, I think, came at a different kind of angle. It was a bit, oh God, what's going on here? It says somewhere in the literature, if we overlook these steps, step 6 and 7, and go from like 5 to 8, we will then end up trying to make even more amends for our behaviour if we don't try and not amend our behaviour, but I'm responsible for my behaviour now, as well as my recovery. I was reading through my step work in the week, and it was asking how did I feel when I was acting on these defects of character. And until it's kind of, these are written down, they say the power of the pen, don't they? But, if I had to write intolerant or inconsiderate or selfishness or self-obsession and dishonesty, and it was just, by the time I was writing it, I was just like, fuck's sake, I'm willing, I'm ready, I just bored of my own bullshit. And luckily, when I left treatment, I was able to, they asked me to go back and volunteer, and then I was offered a job covering maternity leave in the main office, and I remember one of the other girls, somebody came in and paid for treatment, and then had the money for treatment. My colleague had this issue with money. She just didn't like being around money, and I remember just it felt like I had to do that all the time, because it was like, fuck. Like she said, but I don't want to go down the bank, and I was like, yeah, but I'm going to miss my train, and it was like, oh fuck, that's like, I was on step 6, and it felt like nearly everything I was saying was like this massive character defect of, and it was like the awareness of fucking hell, Donna, all you do is think about yourself. Because I would have thought I was like kind of quite an easygoing person, when it all goes your way. But it just felt like everything was magnified, and I was just like, through doing this gave me the awareness of trying to just pause that little bit. Think before you fucking open your trap. It's not all about you, Donna. It's the only way I can kind of explain it, of, how it was for me. And that's what it says in there, about the willingness and the commitment, and just keep on doing it, keep going, just keep going. And it's difficult to explain, kind of step 6, it is and I hate that word, it's a process. But it was like a process of me being really fucking inconsiderate, or, selfish, of like, well, how does this affect Donna's world? Of like, the question also asked, how would it feel? It also asked, how does this behaviour affect others? I didn't know until I wrote it down. They're probably really pissed off with me, actually, or here she comes again trying to spin another negotiation or what. But how would it feel if you didn't have to act on, in this way. And mostly from my answers were like freedom, actually. I don't have to work all these moves or manoeuvres or bullshit or tire myself out with my own crap, whereas I could just be honest in everything. And just that freedom, and it does, and by keeping doing it, and it's a bit like with the step 3, just trusting that, it works. That I remember somebody at a meeting had said to me, they're not actually ever really removed. And I was so angry, I just wanted to nut him. I was really angry. It was almost like he'd shattered my dream, because I think I was right at the beginning of my step 6 thinking they are going to... I was just thinking, fuck. And I was I put him on a resentment as well, I suppose. But, so I think by making the awareness of making the mistakes of acting like that lets me know how it makes me feel, and I don't like feeling like that. Whereas I know there's another way. I think yesterday at work, for example, there's 2 schemes. One's a homeless scheme, the other's a young person's scheme, and we have these daily sighting logs where we have to see people. And I'd already seen this person. Then I'd seen that he was in the kitchen, and in Dona's world, I was really busy. I could have snuck some training in and blah blah blah. And I thought, actually, what's the opposite of the way you could act? 'Cause that's what the questions are. What spiritual principle could you apply instead? I thought, I can be kind and loving instead of being selfish. So I went out and had a chat with him, talking about cooking pasta and how he didn't have a lot of money, and we were saying, maybe, batch cook some... We were about 15 minutes in and whatever. I sat back down and I thought, what? This stuff really fucking works. I felt so much better about it than I could have just been Dona's world, But, so by coming and having to read this again, it's kind of helped me with my step 6. There was loads that I read about it that I thought I must share on this bit on. But I think I'm just kind of drying up on it. I think that's mostly I've mostly covered what I wanted to share on. But that I'm responsible for, my action. I know it says we're responsible for our recovery, but I'm responsible for how I behave, and I can't just say, I need to use my judgment. I need to, it's I know when I'm using my judgment in a bad way, when I'm being judgmental, and so, I'll leave it there, though. Really great to see everyone, and thanks again.
Thanks, Dona.
Thanks, Dona.